Chapter 56, I can't wait any longer. Nonsense, how could I cry and laugh from just one needle? Dr. Kai was dissatisfied. Fang Hao looked at the old hospital director and said, we can't listen to Dr. Kai, otherwise, you'll say I'm everywhere again. The old hospital director, not well versed in this area, looked at Dr. Kai and said, Dr. Kai, you decide. Don't talk nonsense, needle. Dr. Kai directly ordered. Well, suppose I'm a young doctor who doesn't follow medical ethics. Fang Hao really inserted the needle. Hee, woo, oh, hee. Sure enough, Dr. Kai had a strong reaction to the needle, crying and laughing inexplicably. The old hospital director and others were shocked and quickly stood up. Remove the needle, Fang Hao, his master exclaimed. You can't remove the needle so hastily. We have to wait a bit, Fang Hao said. He needed to let Dr. Kai stabilize before removing the needle, but he found that Dr. Kai's mouth was crooked, his eyes askew, and his body stiff, as if he had suffered a stroke. Fang Hao, what happened to Dr. Kai? His master exclaimed. The old hospital director and others were also shocked, especially the old hospital director. Her gaze towards Fang Hao changed from the previous affirmation to a cold and accusing one. Fang Hao explained, this is a natural reaction. Acupuncture has blocked his acupoints, causing his vital energy and blood to be obstructed. He'll be fine, but the needle can only be removed after 10 minutes. He needs to lie in bed for 2 days. I did say that this shouldn't be done. The old hospital director said, but you didn't say he would react like this and need to lie in bed for 2 days. What do we do now? Fang Hao quickly said, first, take him to the ward. After a while, I'll remove the needle and give him a drip. He will recover. It's better to be as you said. During this time, you stay by Dr. Kai's side. If anything happens to him, I'll hold you responsible, the old hospital director said sternly. Fang Hao felt overwhelmed, he had once again gotten himself into trouble. It turned out that showing off medical skills was not a wise move. After arranging Dr. Kai in the ward, Fang Hao had to stay with him. His master pulled him aside and said, what's going on? Is this considered a medical accident? It's not an accident. I just checked Dr. Kai's pulse again. He's fine, it's just because of the acupuncture. Dr. Kai wanted to test me and randomly mention some acupoints. Unexpectedly, these consequences occurred. You also heard me mention the possibility of bitter laughter beforehand. But what about his crooked mouth and askew eyes now? Yes. Master, if this is a medical accident, I won't be able to stay here anymore. I'll take responsibility, and I'll leave. It's not that serious, you have to believe in yourself. The master and disciple were heavy-hearted and didn't speak. Fang Hao wanted to smoke but couldn't leave the ward. Fortunately, a few minutes later, as Fang Hao removed the needle, Dr. Kai's condition gradually improved. Dr. Kai looked bewildered, glanced at the old hospital director and others, and said, it's like playing with eagles and getting pecked in the eye. I blinded myself. You guys go, I'm too ashamed to face anyone. The old hospital director comforted Dr. Kai and found that his vital signs were normal. She then turned to Fang Hao and scolded him, saying, come here, apologize to Dr. Kai. Dr. Kai, I'm sorry. I got carried away. I shouldn't have shown off my skills. I was wrong. I'm not proficient in my craft, and I made a mistake. Please forgive me. Although Fang Hao felt wronged, he could only apologize sincerely. Young man, stop apologizing. You're more capable than me. Young people are frightening. Dr. Kai, it's my fault. I, as a young doctor, shouldn't have disregarded medical ethics. Alright, stop apologizing. Tell me, why did I react like this? What kind of technique did you use? Dr. Kai asked. Now that he had recovered, he wanted to know the reason behind his strange reaction. This needle made him cry and laugh, which was a story when it happened to others but a medical accident when it happened to himself. Fang Hao explained the situation, being careful not to boast this time, almost following the script. The dean and others seemed to find it reasonable, but not entirely clear. However, Dr. Kai asked, are you saying that I might have a stroke, and it will be like just now? Fang Hao replied, in theory, everyone's blood vessels may get blocked, and nerve conduction may deviate. Dr. Kai, who practices Tai Chi regularly, shouldn't have this issue before the age of 80. 80 years old? Okay, young man, come to the traditional Chinese medicine department often, and we can chat. Okay. Fang Hao nodded and stepped aside. Although the dean didn't fully understand, seeing Dr. Kai's relaxed expression made her refrain from blaming Fang Hao further. However, outside the ward, she told Fang Hao, "Don't be complacent. I reserve the right to hold you accountable." Yes, it's all my responsibility. I acknowledge it." Fang Hao dared not argue and could only play the part of the grandson for now. Back at the inpatient department, Lu Jing asked, "Fang Hao, have you performed surgery before?" "No." "Director Lu, what's the matter?" Fang Hao looked at his master. Lu Jing made a call, had a conversation, and then said, "Now go to the surgery department. Director Gong will arrange for you to assist in every surgery, either as the first or second assistant. Follow Director Gong's instructions. If you're willing, go now." "Okay, I'm willing." Fang Hao was overjoyed. If he could be a surgical assistant, he believed his surgical skills would improve rapidly. It was an excellent opportunity for him. He also understood that Lu Jing might make him the chief surgeon for Jiangdong. Even being the attending physician with a 1 in a million chance was better than despair. "Fang Hao, be careful. Watch and listen more, talk less," his master reminded him. "Yes." Fang Hao knew his master was afraid he would cause trouble again. Watching Fang Hao leave, Su Yuqing said to Lu Jing, "Do you really believe in him? A 1 in a million chance of recovery. Can I afford to miss that? Even if he fails, there's still 3 years. Considering Zhang Jun's current condition, making it to the Chinese New Year would be an accomplishment. This is a desperate move, I can't wait any longer." "Okay." Meanwhile, Fang Hao had arrived at the surgery department and reported to Director Gong. "Xiaofeng, I just handled an issue here. I didn't check on Dr. Kai. How is he?" Director Gong looked serious. Although he considered Lu Jing's face, he still needed to exert some pressure on the newcomer entering his territory. "Dr. Kai is fine now. When we left, he could already walk. The responsibility is mine, and the dean said they could investigate any time. I won't evade it." Fang Hao could only be honest. "As long as there's no problem. While you're here with me, observe more, listen more, and learn as much as you can." "Yes." Fang Hao understood the rationale. With his tainted history, from Li Wei's kind offer to the baby needle incident in the infusion hall, the tragic death of the pregnant woman with triplets, to the recent Dr. Kai acupuncture experiment, none of these were his faults, but he was involved in all. Without Lu Jing's recommendation, Director Gong wouldn't have allowed Fang Hao into the surgery department. In surgery, the schedule was full. 10 minutes later, there was a surgery for liver and gallbladder removal due to inflammation. Since the patient had a high profile, Director Gong took the lead. Fang Hao followed Director Gong to scrub in. The first assistant was Director Gong's favorite disciple, the attending physician in surgery and the patient's regular doctor. The second assistant was one of the deputy directors in surgery, and Fang Hao was the third assistant. The third assistant stayed on the side. The surgery progressed smoothly, and Fang Hao could see Director Gong's skill. He truly deserved to be the top surgeon in the surgery department. However, when it came time for suturing, Fang Hao saw the suture material handed over by the instrument assistant, but Director Gong didn't even look and was about to start. Unable to hold back, Fang Hao said, "Director, the suture is wrong." Chapter 57, Tempting Little Fingers. "Director, the suture is wrong." This statement was like thunder on a clear day. In the surgery department, Director Gong was an unquestionable authority, the sky above all. No one dared to challenge his authority, let alone point out his mistake directly. But Fang Hao did. Director Gong immediately showed displeasure, though his anger was hidden behind a tight mask, preventing anyone from seeing his furious expression. However, his hands came to a halt. Other doctors also turned their attention to Fang Hao. Fang Hao continued, "The plan called for the latest enteric-coated suture, and this one isn't it." This time, the instrument nurse was shocked. She looked down at the suture and realized Fang Hao was right. It was a regular surgical thread, typically used for injuries on fingers or toes. However, the current operation involved suturing the liver, which required a special absorbable thread. Director Gong shifted his gaze. It wasn't his mistake, but he had some blame too. He stared at the nurse and said, "What are you standing there for? Hurry and get a replacement." "Yes." The nurse glanced at Fang Hao with a deep sense of resentment and quickly went to fetch the correct suture. This was just a minor incident, slightly delaying the end of the surgery without affecting its overall success. Director Gong's mood was still generally good. After all, this patient was crucial, making this surgery significant. However, he took aside the nurse who made the mistake and said, "What were you thinking?" The dean held meetings, and our department emphasized multiple times to seriously improve professional skills during this period. Yet, you made such a basic error. Seeing the nurse lower her head, and considering her background, Director Gong softened his tone, saying, "Rest for the day and reflect. I won't pursue it this time. Consider it as if it never happened." "Thank you, Director. I won't make such a mistake again." The nurse expressed gratitude, bowed, and left. As she walked out, she saw Fang Hao carefully studying medical records while walking. She felt that Fang Hao was pretending, acting so earnestly. It was clearly a deliberate challenge against her. Dissatisfied, she lowered her head, pretended not to see him, and deliberately bumped into him, causing the medical records in his hands to scatter. "Watch where you're going. Don't go blind. If this happened on the road, and I couldn't get up, you would have to compensate me with your entire family fortune." The nurse coldly snorted, leaving with a sense of triumph. "I'll endure it. This is someone else's territory. I'll endure it." Fang Hao consoled himself and picked up the medical records, heading towards the director's office. In the afternoon, Fang Hao remained in the surgery department, observing various surgeries, both major and minor. However, unfortunately, no chief surgeon was willing to delegate tasks to him. Even the subsequent tasks like suturing were not assigned to him. At home, dinner time had arrived. Tian sat at the dining table, staring at the array of dishes in front of him: tomato and scrambled eggs, corn and spare rib soup, tomato and potato strips, all beautifully presented. However, he showed no intention of picking up his chopsticks, and a hint of disdain lingered on his face. Suro felt relieved as she sat down. She served a bowl of soup for her mother first, took a sip herself, and said, "The taste is not bad." Seeing Tian not eating, Zhofen urged, "Why aren't you eating?" Only then did Suro notice something was wrong with her son. She asked, "What's the matter? Are you feeling unwell? Weren't you hungry just now? Why aren't you eating?" Tian replied, "Mom, did you forget what day it is today?" Confused, Suro asked, "Today, what's special about today?" Tian said, "Today is boneless chicken day. I want to eat boneless chicken. Call Dad to come back and cook." Jia chimed in, "I want boneless chicken too, Mom. Can you make it?" Suro was puzzled, saying, "I don't know how to make it." Tian sighed, "You're really clueless. Dad can do it. In my eyes, you are the smartest, Mom." Suro, feeling somewhat morally blackmailed, replied, "Fine, we'll have it tomorrow." Tian mumbled, "Mom, you forgot again. Tomorrow is boneless fish." "Boneless fish? We'll ask Dad to come back and make it tomorrow. He won't be busy then." Suro tried to appease him, but Tian still looked a bit dissatisfied. She asked, "Is the food I cooked not tasty?" "It's delicious, but not as delicious as Dad's." Tian was straightforward. While devouring eggs, he reached for the spare ribs in the soup with his chopsticks. Suro smiled contentedly. She didn't say anything more. Zhofen hadn't eaten much, perhaps because the taste didn't compare to what Fang Hao could cook. She pondered silently. Fang Hao indeed had some culinary skills. "Oh, is Fang Hao really that busy?" Zhofen inquired. Suro dismissed it, saying, "He said he's assisting in surgeries at the surgical department. He won't be back." Zhofen hesitated but refrained from commenting. After dinner, Suro cleaned up, then checked the recipe for boneless chicken on her phone. After reading it, she felt despair. She sent a message, "Fang Hao, come back tomorrow and cook boneless fish." Soon, a response came, accompanied by a playful little finger emoji. The sender was Elephant Nose. Her heart skipped a beat, and she subconsciously clenched her legs. Instructing her children to play on their own, she went into the bedroom. "Fang Hao? Now it's Fang Hao again? Not husband anymore?" At the hospital, Fang Hao took a moment to check his phone. Besides replying to his master's message, he also saw a message from his wife. He didn't respond to his wife's message, he chose to ignore it. He didn't want to go back to that home. He didn't want to see that rotten woman. After completing the final surgery, it was already 9:30 in the evening. Fang Hao hadn't left the operating room, waiting until the patient fully woke up before heading to his master's office. Seeing his master sorting through more liver cancer materials, including the latest uploaded cases from overseas that day. Fang Hao studied them. He discovered that they all followed conventional treatments. Similar treatment procedures and plans were used. Since the medications abroad were purer, the effects were somewhat more significant than those in China. No wonder wealthy individuals, when faced with cancer, preferred going abroad for treatment, trusting foreign experts, foreign treatments, and foreign medications more. Fang Hao sighed. At this moment, Lu Jing approached. She looked at Fang Hao with satisfaction and asked, "You haven't gone home, right? Your clothes are sweaty. Go home, take a shower, and rest well." Fang Hao, busy with various tasks, also sweating, replied, "I have spare clothes here. I'll take a shower later, I won't go home." "What's wrong? Isn't your home with twin children? Don't you miss them? Is there any family conflict?" "No. I just had a video call with my family. My father-in-law is a university professor. If I cause any trouble, they will deal with me immediately." Fang Hao told a lie. He did miss his son, and even that Jia Jia. Despite being someone else's child, he cared for her. However, thinking of the images of his wife's affair, he couldn't help but feel nauseated. He was worried that he might lose control and do something terrible. That woman, out of sight, out of mind. Chapter 58, Am I a bit jealous? At home. Ding ding. Wife sent a message, "I miss you, I want to see you. Tomorrow, I'll come find you." Elephant nose, tomorrow won't work, I'll be busy these days. Let's meet in a few days. I've customized a new outfit for you, waiting for you to try it on. Wife, annoying, those small clothes again, so uncomfortable. But I'll listen to you, old pervert. Hee hee. Elephant nose, how about asking about the voice recorder? Do you want me to record something for you? That's a good idea. Wife, it was left in my car by my husband. Thankfully, sister's son gave it to me, and it's empty. Elephant nose, is your husband getting smarter? Wife, impossible, I haven't revealed anything. When chatting with you, I use a new card, and I don't let him touch my things. No one knows about your existence, old pervert. Hee hee. Elephant nose, voice recorder, you should be careful. Don't let your husband find out. Come on, tell me about your husband. The more you talk about him, the more I miss you. Wife, annoying, I won't talk about him. Elephant nose, come on, I might be getting a bit jealous. Wife, I won't say, I'm hanging up. Annoying, it will be a few more days before I can see you. Hung up, I want you to appear in front of me right now. Elephant nose, use your hand to touch, and send me a picture. Won't show you, old pervert. I'll show you in a few days. The wife really hung up the message, deleted the user, and even all the messages. After touching herself, she found that she was already wet. She really wanted it, but there was no man around. Fang Hao, you're really useless. Now that I need you, you're not here. If you come back, I won't give it to you. Humph. At the hospital. Lu Jing hadn't left yet and was discussing with Fang Hao. At first, she was confident, but when she thought about the 2 years of treatment, she couldn't help but feel bitter. Turning around, she silently shed tears. Deep affection between husband and wife. Fang Hao handed her a tissue, not knowing how to comfort her. Director, how about you come over here and have a good cry? Fang Hao, for some reason, felt uncomfortable seeing a woman cry at this moment. This woman truly loved her husband, tirelessly working for her seriously ill husband for 2 years, giving everything a wife could give. He was deeply moved, and thinking of his wife, who didn't love him at all and even cheated on him, he felt a sense of bitterness and helplessness, like the bitter and helpless taste when the moon shines on a canal. Lu Jing turned her head, looked at Fang Hao, and really leaned her head over, crying silently, her nose twitching, and her shoulders shaking. Fang Hao gently patted her shoulder, not comforting her, letting her cry, tears wetting his shoulder. After a while, Lu Jing gradually calmed down. Seeing that Fang Hao's lab coat was wet at one corner, she felt embarrassed and said, I apologize. Fang Hao said, Director, you are very strong. I admire you. He turned his head and saw an email notification on the computer from his master. He opened it and said, My master will attend a seminar in the neighboring province tomorrow, and I have to go teach for him. Director, I'll take leave here, and I won't go to the lobby tomorrow morning. You don't need to go to the lobby, you can focus on your work. Your master even asked you to help with the teaching? After Lu Jing recovered, she resumed her serious demeanor as the department head. She never thought that Fang Hao was a nurse. It was a waste of talent and time to work in the lobby. However, due to the hospital's regulations resulting from Li Wei's medical dispute, she couldn't say much. But in her department, she could arrange for Fang Hao. This is the third time. I haven't obtained a postgraduate degree, and my master is worried. Even if he lets me go, the school leaders won't agree. Now that I'm pursuing a PhD, my master applied for my lecturer qualification, so I can teach. Fang Hao didn't conceal anything. He knew that Lu Jing and his master had a deep relationship, even possibly belonging to the same group. You have a lecturer qualification, huh? Next time I have a class, and I'm too busy, I'll arrange for you to go. Mine is diagnostic medicine. Lu Jing greeted Fang Hao first and discussed teaching matters with him before realizing that this Fang Hao was quite versatile. It was getting late, so she left after chatting a bit more. Ding ding. Fang Hao received a message on QQ from an editor at a publishing house, asking if he was interested in taking on the business of ghostwriting a paper, and the price was negotiable. If my master finds out that I'm doing ghostwriting, he'll definitely scold me. Now there's such a good opportunity for learning, I won't create any trouble for myself. Fang Hao thought for a moment but didn't reveal everything. After the divorce, he wouldn't be able to access the family funds, and he might have to move out and rent a place. With a low salary here, plus the expenses for his PhD studies and the cost of raising his son, it would undoubtedly be financially challenging. He simply said he didn't have time and stopped chatting with the other party. Next, he organized today's work earnings, which included acupuncture-related tasks and surgical tasks, keeping him busy for 3 hours. He wanted to sleep but had no inclination to do so. At 3 in the morning, he didn't dare to smoke in his master's office. Instead, he went downstairs to the inpatient area. In the designated smoking area, he was surprised to find someone there, an old man. At first, he didn't think much of it when he saw the man's back. However, when he saw the front, he was greatly shocked. It was Li Wei. The cigarette he was holding dropped straight to the ground. Anger flared within him. It was Li Wei, the person he kindly bought porridge for, but the guy didn't appreciate it, instead smashing it and causing him to go into ventricular fibrillation. He had saved him at the cost of physical exhaustion. Still, the guy didn't say thank you, and even pressured the hospital to make him apologize. The hospital penalized him, deducting 3 years of welfare rewards and assigning him to the infusion hall. Li Wei was a bit surprised too because doctors had repeatedly told him not to smoke. Nevertheless, here he was at 3 in the morning, smoking 2 cigarettes, never expecting to run into a doctor. He initially thought of leaving after finishing his smoke, but when he saw it was the small doctor from last time, he disregarded him and continued smoking openly. Seeing that the other party ignored him, Fang Hao initially wanted to ask him to leave. However, considering that this old man might lie down again, he wouldn't be able to explain clearly later. Forget it, pretend you didn't see it. Fang Hao picked up his cigarette and moved to the side to smoke. After Li Wei finished his cigarette but was not satisfied, he looked at Fang Hao, smiled, and said, "Give me one." Fang Hao ignored him. Doctors giving patients cigarettes, wasn't that asking for trouble? Li Wei frowned and said, "Damn, are you deaf? Give me one, got it?" Seeing that Fang Hao still ignored him, he said, "You're not obedient, I'll complain about you." Fang Hao still ignored him. He said, "If I lie down here, you can wait to explain to the leaders." Seeing that Fang Hao did throw the cigarette over, he picked it up, looked at it, and said, "Damn, you smoke this kind of trash?" Fang Hao got excited and said, "I'm poor. I can only afford trash. If you don't want it, give it back." Li Wei didn't give it back, lit it himself, his expression stiffening. He said, "The old flavor, I smoked this brand when I was 8 years old. It's been decades now." He turned to look at Fang Hao and said, "You're so young, don't frown. Did your wife run away with someone? Damn, can you read minds?" Fang Hao was almost speechless. Did he reveal it so clearly? Does the metaphorical green hat on my head become so literal? Chapter 59, Li Wei is a shrewd character. Li Wei saw that Fang Hao wasn't talking, so he said, "I'm annoyed. Day by day, no one talks to me. I asked you guys to move me to a regular ward so that I can at least have a roommate, but you didn't listen. Are you trying to suffocate me? Be content. You're staying in the best ward in our hospital, you're the VIP among VIPs. Do you come here to enjoy luxuries? The medicine you're using is internationally airshipped, the best there is. Otherwise, would you recover so quickly? You still want a roommate? Do you think everyone is as wealthy as you? Fang Hao complained silently. Damn, are you mute? I finally want to talk, and you won't speak to me. Are you deliberately provoking me? Li Wei glanced at Fang Hao, threw the lighter at him, hitting Fang Hao's head. He said, do you know why I was angry last time? I was angry at those ignorant brats, one by one, saying they're too busy with their careers to take care of me. I left them such a big company and wealth. Do they need to be busy? Damn, if I knew these ingrates were like this, I would stuff it back and not have children. So, are you using me as a punching bag? Fang Hao suddenly realized but felt extremely wronged. Otherwise, what? I haven't eaten for a day and night. Do I have the energy to smash you? Damn, my biological children don't even ask if I've eaten, not even a phone call. You, who have nothing to do with me, know that I haven't eaten and even bought porridge for me. Damn, that made me angry, so I used you as a punching bag. What? Don't you accept it? I curse your ancestor. You're really making things difficult for me. Oh, you curse me. Do you believe I'll lie down here immediately? There are only 2 of us here, you'll be in big trouble. Okay, old man, calm down. Don't play with me anymore. I've been assigned to the infusion hall. If you play with me again, I'll have to leave. Fang Hao grinned with a mournful face, knowing Li Wei had some power, and he couldn't afford to provoke him. Hee, the leaders of your hospital are nothing special. They don't ask for reasons and just deal with you. I heard that you saved me from cardiac arrest. Without you, I would have died. Is that true? No, I didn't do anything. I don't have that ability. Do you think I'm blind? You checked me that day, found out I hadn't eaten for a day, and even knew to buy me porridge, my favorite kind. I know you've got some skills. Come on, check my pulse and see how well I've recovered. Then tell me how long I can live. Well, Fang Hao felt that Li Wei was a shrewd character with a clear mind. After finishing the cigarette, Fang Hao had to push Li Wei's wheelchair back to the ward, perform a pulse examination, and run some tests. Li Wei said, tell the truth. After thinking for a moment, Fang Hao said, in your condition, I dare not make any promises. Don't be angry. Smoke less, don't drink, cooperate with the treatment, and you might have 2 more years. Do you know I've been drinking? Having some skills is different. Only 2 years? Just 2 years? I've been burning money every day these past 2 years, and I still can't spend it all. Let me treat you, and you might get a couple more years. Let me go, old man. Calm down. Don't play with me. I've been relegated to the infusion hall. If you play with me, I'll leave. Fang Hao put on a pitiful face, knowing that Li Wei had considerable influence. Hee, the leaders of your hospital are nothing special. They don't ask for reasons and just deal with you. I heard that you saved me from cardiac arrest. Without you, I would have died. Is that true? No, I didn't do anything. I don't have that ability. Do you think I'm blind? You checked me that day, found out I hadn't eaten for a day, and even knew to buy me porridge, my favorite kind. I know you've got some skills. Come on, check my pulse and see how well I've recovered. Then tell me how long I can live. Well, Fang Hao felt that Li Wei was a shrewd character with a clear mind. After finishing the cigarette, Fang Hao had to push Li Wei's wheelchair back to the ward, perform a pulse examination, and run some tests. Li Wei said, tell the truth. After thinking for a moment, Fang Hao said, in your condition, I dare not make any promises. Don't be angry. Smoke less, don't drink, cooperate with the treatment, and you might have 2 more years. Do you know I've been drinking? Having some skills is different. Only 2 years? Just 2 years? I've been burning money every day these past 2 years, and I still can't spend it all. Let me treat you, and you might get a couple more years. Go to hell, you almost fooled me. I had a stroke, not a terminal illness. What's this talk about 2 years? Get out of here. Li Wei cursed, but when Fang Hao truly reached the door, he called Fang Hao back. Give me back my lighter. Were you trying to steal it when I wasn't paying attention? You cunning brat. Fang Hao was stunned for a moment. Was this why he called him back? Didn't he want him to treat him? He returned the lighter to Li Wei and then left. This old guy, really hard to understand. Fang Hao considered this a side story, a resolution to a question. He planned to find an opportunity to talk to the old dean and ask the hospital to revoke the punishment decision. The next day, he woke up early and received a message from his wife, remember to come back today. I'll make boneless fish. He didn't reply. You jerk, go spend time with your lover. He hurried to Jiangdong University to substitute for his mentor's class. Coming from a student background, he understood that for students who wanted to learn, providing course materials was sufficient. These students would either enter the hospital or pursue postgraduate studies. On the other hand, those who were just passing time would enter society, inheriting family property and the like. Therefore, his teaching style remained the same, first covering the professional content, then discussing hospital and societal matters while casually chatting with everyone. After 2 classes, he rushed back to the hospital, heading to the surgery department to continue as an assistant and observe surgeries. However, whether it was the chief surgeon or other lead doctors, they all held the surgical knife from start to finish. He didn't get any chance to move up, and other assistants didn't either. During lunch, he saw the old dean and quickly approached him, saying, "Dean, I want to report a situation. I heard that Li Wei was angry that day because of a phone call with his children, not because of me. Can you lift my punishment? Is that so? Have Li Wei come talk to me. Otherwise, there's no proof of what you're saying. The punishment cannot be lifted. Don't cause trouble, otherwise, I'll hold you accountable for the Kai Lao incident as well." The old dean warned and ignored him. Speechless, why was this old lady so harsh on him? He thought about going to Li Wei and asking him to speak to the old dean, but that would be like asking Li Wei to slap himself. With Li Wei's status and cunning nature, he would never do it. As a small figure, he couldn't make Li Wei lower himself. This is so difficult. Back in the mentor's office, he saw the mentor had returned. Soon after, Lu Jing also arrived. Her face looked bad, but she still smiled at Fang Hao. She asked, "How did the experts over there respond?" The mentor shook his head, saying, "Same as before, no hope." Fang Hao knew that during the seminar, the mentor must have discussed Zhang Jun's condition, searching for better solutions. Lu Jing said, "Zhang Jun has developed pulmonary edema. I'm in deep trouble." She was about to cry again, but ultimately held it back, silently leaving. Fang Hao was taken aback. Zhang Jun's condition was really dangerous. Maybe he wouldn't make it through this year. He said, "Mentor, this shouldn't be happening." The mentor remained silent for a while before saying, "It's definitely because Zhang Jun refuses to take medication. Delaying treatment once worsens the condition exponentially." Fang Hao didn't know what to say. He understood the pain of patients. If he were diagnosed with such an illness, he'd probably give up too. Dying sooner would be a relief for himself and his family. He had proposed a solution, but the old dean and others didn't adopt it, and he was powerless. Without the prescription authority and not being the attending physician, he couldn't exceed his authority to treat Zhang Jun. "Fang Hao, let's go have a drink," the mentor suddenly suggested. "Sure." Fang Hao didn't say much. He knew the mentor wasn't in a good mood. However, he didn't know how to comfort him, so he could only accompany him. But he didn't expect that the mentor couldn't handle alcohol at all. After just 1 glass, he was already knocked out, and Fang Hao had to carry him out. Placing the mentor in the car and calming him down, as he was leaving the gate, he saw a couple walking by intimately, making Fang Hao feel like he had seen a ghost. Chapter 60, You've Been Cheated Too. Fang Hao watched the couple pass by, his eyes fixed on them. Hey, don't just stand there, keep moving," urged the security guard, signaling Fang Hao to leave and not block the way. Unable to leave, Fang Hao pretended to have left and then quickly returned, following the couple. The woman was none other than the mentor's wife, Mrs. Shi. The man, looking quite young and handsome, seemed to be a government employee. Mrs. Shi wore a professional suit skirt, with a full figure. Judging by her face, she was about a 7 or 8 in terms of looks, but her full figure, fair skin, height, and being in her 40s or 50s gave her a mature and charming appearance. The man, dressed plainly, looked cultured and seemed to be part of the system. The two went into the restaurant and directly entered a private room. While climbing the stairs, the man placed his hand on Mrs. Shi's hip, and she responded by twisting a bit. Instead of pushing away the man's hand, she leaned into him, appearing more intimate. "Mentor, you've been cheated." Fang Hao returned to the car with a disgruntled look. Watching the mentor still drunk, he suddenly recalled that he might have been cheated in a similar way 4 years ago. The adulterer was right beside him, but he was too drunk to notice. Damn reality. The mentor was quite drunk, and Fang Hao was a bit worried. So, he decided to stay at the mentor's house. Upon inspection, Fang Hao discovered that the mentor and his wife still shared the same bed, with their personal belongings mixed together. On the mentor's computer, there was even a photo of them holding hands from their trip last month, showing no signs of any issues. But why would Mrs. Shi be with that man? What was she after? When your wife cheats, it's usually during the innocent phase, fooled by an older man. Now, with her youth and beauty, she loves playing around, continuing the affair to seek excitement. As the financial director, she has many opportunities to meet outstanding individuals who may be attracted to her. The crucial point is that his wife doesn't love him, she loves her lover, loving only herself. In the case of Mrs. Shi, she's not young, doesn't have outstanding looks, and holds a certain social status. She still has the mentor, a daughter, a good family background, so why cheat? What is she after? Fang Hao was bewildered. Standing under the wedding photo of the mentor and Mrs. Shi, he contemplated for a long time. Lu Jing called, asking where he and the mentor were. The old dean had a consultation meeting about Li Wei, and as the mentor was the former attending physician, he was needed. Fang Hao had to tell the truth that the mentor was drunk and sleeping at home. Lu Jing asked him to represent the mentor at the expert consultation. Fang Hao hesitated, not wanting to face Li Wei. But before he left, he called Mrs. Shi. Hearing her unusual breathing, he instantly imagined her being intimate with the young man. He briefly informed Mrs. Shi that the mentor was drunk at home. After that, he hung up the phone, not wanting to disturb their affair. Arriving at the hospital, Lu Jing asked him to attend in place of the mentor. He quickly refused, saying, "Director, I've been disciplined because of Li Wei's incident. Attending this would only cause trouble, right? After you go in, just listen, don't speak. Take notes of the discussion. When your mentor wakes up, show him the notes. The old dean is the current attending physician, so she won't let you do anything significant." Okay. Fang Hao could only reluctantly go in. Sure enough, as soon as he entered, several people, including the old dean and the head of the inpatient department, all looked at him. He had to explain the mentor's situation, stating that he was here to record. The old dean didn't say much after hearing his explanation. Fang Hao noticed that there were also experts from another hospital, and the atmosphere seemed a bit heavy. Putting on his mask, he opened his shorthand notebook, ready to start recording. He quickly understood the situation. Li Wei believed he only had 2 years left to live and didn't want to wait for death in the hospital, so he requested discharge. Li Wei also brought in an expert from a rehabilitation institution to negotiate the transfer procedures and handover of the treatment plan with the old dean. Damn it, what is Li Wei up to? Fang Hao couldn't figure it out. After the meeting, the expert left, and the old dean and others stayed behind. The old dean stared at Fang Hao and asked, "Did your mentor tell Li Wei the truth today? Did he inform Li Wei of the real situation?" Fang Hao replied, "I don't think so. After coming to work, my mentor checked the patients on the stroke floor. Then he left directly to attend a seminar. When he came back, he was in a bad mood, had a drink, got drunk, and I brought him home before coming here." He silently prayed they wouldn't ask him further. Of course, even if they did, he wouldn't admit to seeing Li Wei. Checking the surveillance. It shouldn't come to that. He knew the old dean's mood must be bad now. After Li Wei transferred to another hospital, the hospital wouldn't benefit from the profits of treatment and medication. "Li Wei, you old scoundrel, you may be wealthy, but when you're sick, you can only become the hospital's cash cow, waiting to be slaughtered." The old dean, satisfied with Fang Hao's response and not suspecting him of checking Li Wei, didn't pursue the matter further. The meeting ended. As they dispersed, Dr. Luo shot Fang Hao a fierce glare, accompanied by a long snort. "What's wrong with this woman? Did I offend her again?" Fang Hao felt that Dr. Luo had a serious problem, otherwise, why would she be so antagonistic towards him? Wife cheating, and the family is about to break apart, that must be why she's so consistently unlucky. Divorce, we must divorce. Fang Hao felt he was too unlucky. Just as he stepped out, Lu Jing called him aside. She said, "Fang Hao, I've obtained prescribing rights for you. This afternoon, you'll help me with the outpatient clinic." "Me? You're the director, and I can't stand in for you. If the dean finds out, I'll get scolded again." Fang Hao was excited. After 4 years, he finally got the right to prescribe. He really wanted to agree because Lu Jing's position was not trivial, and her clinic would likely have many patients. It was a great opportunity for him to practice. But Lu Jing was the director. If someone complained, both she and he would be in trouble. Lu Jing said, I'll inform the dean. I believe in your abilities. If there are any problems, I'll take the blame for you. Okay. I'll do my best. Fang Hao checked the time, it was almost time to start the clinic. However, after walking a few steps, he turned back to Lu Jing and asked, Director, where are you going? I'll accompany old Zhang. Later, old Zhang's family will come, and we'll discuss with the dean and others. Lu Jing said, her expression dimming. Director, give yourself some confidence and give your husband some confidence. You'll get through this. Fang Hao didn't say much more. Looking at Lu Jing's delicate figure, he suddenly realized that even chief physicians were human. When family members fell seriously ill, doctors also faced intense crises, difficult choices, and the torment of life and death. He also realized that his mother-in-law, Zhou Fen, might be sicker than what Lu Jing had mentioned. Su-ro, what are you busy with every day? Pay some attention to your mom. Enjoy yourself, cheat, seek excitement. Cheap woman.